Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and we are back for bracketology. That's right, it's March Madness. It's time for NCAA brackets. For all you people out there that love the NCAA and love March Madness, we are going to give you our picks, who we think is going to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and the championship, and we're going to go through all the games and tell you what we think. We'll give you a little detail here and there when we get closer to the end, but we're just basically going to give you our picks. Guys, please comment, subscribe, and like. If you have a bracket, post it on the description in the page. Post it on your comment. Tell us who you think's going to win the tournament. I'm going to share this to everybody. Give us all your feedback. I'd love to know who you're picking so we can then find out who was right. As always, I am joined by Jose Carlos Gomes, who is sporting a White Sox hat. I'm a little surprised by that. I guess it's just the mood he's in today.
It's the first one. It's the first one that came in out of the closet. So I just it's bad hair day. So just first one that came.
It's not just him. I pulled out a shirt today that I haven't worn in like a long time. It's a John Cena "You Can't See Me" shirt that I probably got like 20 years ago. So you know what? He's not the only one. But let's get to our picks today. As you know, the focus is March Madness. We'll get to other sports. We'll talk about the Leafs and the Raptors at another time. Right now, it's about the NCAA tournament. So I will name off the games and we will make our picks. And as we get closer to the end, we will explain why we have picked these teams. Let's start with Alabama, the overall number one. They are the number one seed. They will be taking on number 16 Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I got Bama, Jose.
Yeah, I got Bama. There's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about there. Brandon Miller, I am looking forward to watching him. I will say that about Mr. Alabama. Yes. Now, if I'm correct and I have the same bracket Jose does, we'll go to the 8-9 matchup. And that is Maryland versus West Virginia. Is that the same thing you have on your bracket, Jose?
Yeah.
Okay. I got Maryland in this one. I like what I saw from them at the end of the season, so I got Maryland.
I agree with you. I like Maryland. I think West Virginia is an inside team. They're weak shooting the ball, so I like Maryland in this one too.
So far, we got the same picks. We'll see where we go from here. Now we go to the 5-12 matchup. San Diego State, Kawhi's old school, they go to play Charleston. I don't have the divisions in front of me, so hopefully people know where they're from. I got San Diego State in this one, Jose.
This is the first Cinderella right here.
Oh, there we go. First upset.
Charleston's the first Cinderella. 31-3 the whole season Charleston went.
Yep.
They're on a 10-game winning streak. Played tough games against the big squads in the beginning of the year. They lost a tight game to North Carolina. They're a good team, and they're going to be one of those Cinderella teams. I think this is them, and I got another surprise for you at the end too.
Yeah, I've got a couple of surprises that will probably shock a lot of people, but you got to take one because there's always one or two that come through. Okay, so that's cool. Now we go to number 4 versus 13. Virginia, a former champion, takes on Furman. I have Virginia here, guys. This is not my
Virginia should win this game easily. Good, solid defensive team, and they play the hard-nosed basketball, so they should be good.
Yeah, I'm going to take them. Now we go to 6-11. This was a tough one for me. It's Creighton, who I've liked all year, playing NC State. Jose?
Creighton. I like Creighton. They're a good shooting team. And I think they'll beat NC State. NC State struggled down the stretch, so I like Creighton in this one.
This is my first upset. I had trouble with this one. I went back and forth. Creighton plays way too many close games, and I think NC State, because they're in the better conference, might sneak one out here. So I'll take NC State. It's my first upset, but I had trouble with this one. 3-14. Baylor versus UCSB, which I believe is Santa Barbara, if I'm correct. No upset here for me. I have Baylor.
Me too. I like Baylor in this one too.
Now we get to the interesting one. 7 versus 10. We have Missouri taking on Utah State. I got Utah State upsetting in this one. Jose?
Me too. Me too. Good
Yeah.
shooting 3-pointer team.
Now we go to Arizona taking on Princeton. I'm sorry, Ivy League, but I got Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona should smash them.
They they're an interesting team, Arizona. We'll talk more about them later. Now we go to the other division. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have the East, West, North, South in here, but we're going to the next group of brackets now. 116 again. Purdue is taking on, I think this is Texas Southern or Florida FDU.
Yeah, it's
I don't.
FDU. They won. FDU won
Okay,
it.
so FDU won. I did not check the score. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter who won this game because
yeah,
Purdue's winning the game. So,
yeah. Hands down. Yeah. Watch out for the
um,
Canadian.
yes, yes. What's that? It's the big center, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember his name now. You got his name?
Levy or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Starts
Watch
with
out
the
for him.
no. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested in because he's a potential draft pick, maybe for our team. We'll see. Now we go to the 8-9 matchup. It's Memphis versus FAU. I've got Memphis winning this one. I like that they beat Houston in the championship game there for the conference. So I like Memphis.
Me too.
To the hottest team in the entire field, Duke goes to Oral Roberts. I think Duke wins this game by 30. Jose?
They'll win the game, but not 30. Oral Roberts is a good team actually. They're very good defensive team. They will win, but I don't think it's gonna be by 30. But you never know.
So
NCAA.
you never know. There've been upsets. We've seen UMBC beat Virginia, so it could happen. Tennessee, number 4, Tennessee goes to number 13, Louisiana, not LSU, Louisiana. I had to look this up because I didn't know this team existed. So as you can imagine, I like Tennessee because I didn't know Louisiana existed. So I got Tennessee.
Should win this one. Yes, Tennessee.
I almost thought it was LSU, and I realized they're not in the tournament. There are a lot of well-known schools that did not make this tournament. North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan. There are a lot of well-known schools that did not make this tournament. This is a different kind of tournament now with the schools being more equal with the new rules. Kentucky, who got hot at the end of the year, they struggled to start this year. They got a tough matchup. They're playing Providence, number 6 versus number 11. Jose, who do you got in this one?
Providence. I think they're gonna upset Kentucky. Kentucky, I don't know, man. They're not a team for this tournament. So I think they're like more of a home team. Like all their big wins were at home. On the road, they've been struggling. So I like Providence in this one.
I thought about this one as an upset, but I liked how Kentucky ended their season. They got a couple of big road wins. I think they won at Arkansas. They won at Tennessee. I like Oshibi. I hope I said his name right. Oshibi, the guard. So I got Kentucky in this one. Kansas State, number 3, a team that I've been a fan of all year. I've been very surprised by Kansas State. They go to Montana State. I got Kansas State, as you can imagine, in this one.
Montana State, baby. Upset.
Oh, the upset. Here we go. Why Montana State?
Well, they had a 25-9 record during the season, 8 wins in a row. They've played good teams prior to their conference play. They stayed in tough games against Kentucky. They played against I believe it was the team from the AACC. I think Kansas State. There's been a couple players that have been injured. Some of the best players are injured. I just think when this Montana, everybody's hyping up on Montana, so I was checking it out, and I think they have a good chance to go far in this tournament, Montana State.
Okay. Number 7 Michigan State versus number 10 USC. A tough one here, but as a trend you're going to see, I actually like a lot of teams out of the Pac-12, so I've got USC in this one.
I like the Spartans. I think Izzo will have them ready. Michigan State's always one of those tournament teams that come alive when it comes to the tournament. And I have them winning this one. In a close one.
Yeah, a lot of these games, I mean, there'll be some blowouts, but most of these games are going to be close. to Marquette. Number 2, Marquette versus Vermont. Marquette is one of my favorite teams in the tournament. I like Marquette in this one.
Yeah, me too.
So that's that side of the page. Now we go to the other side on the right, top right. The Houston Cougars, who I don't know what to make of, but they are the number 2 overall seed. They lost their last game to Memphis. They go to Northern Kentucky, 1 versus 16. I have Houston in this one.
Yeah, me too. I think this is the shittiest bracket of all of them. I think this is the weakest bracket.
This is my upset bracket, people. You're gonna find out in a minute here.
Right.
Now we go number 8 Iowa versus number 9 Auburn. 2 teams I don't trust, but I went with Iowa because I think they can score more than Auburn. So that's
Same
just my
thing
thoughts.
here.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And now we get to some games that no one's gonna want to pick. Miami, number 5 Miami versus Drake. I like what I read about Drake, and I got the upset here. Drake beats the Hurricanes. Jose?
I really like Miami. I have them going to the Final Four. I think.
Wow! Holy
I think
shit!
their 2 guards are one of the best in the country, and they're teams that nobody's talking about, but they're a team that can take it. And they have good guard plays, and in the NCAA tournament, you need good guard plays, and the guys can shoot and stuff like that. So I like Miami in this one.
You see, I told you we were going to get different eventually. Indiana, number 4 Indiana goes to Kent State. I've always liked Kent State in this tournament, and I'm going to take them again. I got Kent State for the upset. Jose?
I like Indiana, but I won't be surprised if Kent State makes the upset here. They've been struggling, Indiana, down the stretch.
Now we go to, yes, they have. They really got beat up at home. And I think Northwestern killed them, so they're struggling a little bit. So I took the upset there. Iowa State, who I've liked all year until recently when they struggled a little bit, they go to Pittsburgh to take on what seems to be everyone's surprise team after they narrowly beat Mississippi State yesterday. Having said that, I got Iowa State. Jose?
I like Pittsburgh. I think they're going to roll from their first game. They're a good defensive team, hard-nosed basketball. It's going to be a tough game. I think they'll squeak one out.
Yeah, I like how Iowa State's played against the tough teams all year, on the road and at home, and that's why I like them. But we'll see how far they get. Number 3 Xavier, as the teams out of the Big East continue to impress and have high seeds. Go! I hope I'm saying this right. Kennesaw, is that right?
Yeah.
Kennesaw State. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 14 Kennesaw State. I have Xavier here.
Yeah, I have Xavier because it's easier to pronounce than Kennesaw State or whatever.
That's right. That's right. So I had problems with that one. So got Xavier, and as a trend, you'll see I really like the Big East this year, but we'll talk about that as we go on. Texas A&M, number 7 Texas A&M versus number 10 Penn State. Again, these 7-10s are brutal. A lot of people have Texas A&M as a surprise team, but I got Penn State winning this game. Jose?
Me too. I think they had a Big Ten tournament, made it all the way to the finals. So I'm taking Penn State. I think they roll with the momentum to get in this game.
Yeah, I like the defense they play as well. I wasn't impressed with Texas A&M this year, so I got Penn State. Number 2, Texas plays a toothbrush company. I got Texas.
Yeah, Texas should whip them.
In case you didn't know, they're playing Colgate, and I only know them as a toothbrush company, so I'm not about to take them to beat Texas. Now we go to the final bracket, and we have number 1 Kansas taking on Howard. Now, Howard is a nice school. I have a friend named Kenyon who I did a live show with who wants to go to medical school there. But Kenyon, they're not beating Kansas. I got Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas should whip them.
They are the defending champions, Kansas. They took on North Carolina last year, who's not even in the tournament. Go figure. Now we go to number 8, Arkansas versus number 9, Illinois. 2 very inconsistent teams all year. But I like Arkansas a little bit better, so I'll take Arkansas.
This one's a coin flip, and I took Illinois. Both even teams, should be a good close game. I just took Illinois.
Now we go to, I think this is St. Mary's. Yes, I don't know why they have
Yeah,
it as Mary C on here. St. Mary's, number 5 St. Mary's versus number 12 VCU. This is an upset for me. I got VCU winning this game.
same here. I think VCU upset them.
Yeah, I think St. Mary's, they took a pounding from Gonzaga. They may not be over it yet. Number 4, UConn takes on Rick Pitino's number 13, Iona. I like Rick Pitino, but they're not beating UConn. Jose.
Same here. I like UConn too, but Rick Pitino's team is a tough team. They'll keep it close to this. It won't be. I won't be surprised if there's an upset here, but UConn should win this game, based on the talented players that they have.
The Big East has been a very, very good conference all year with a lot of good players and tough matchups. And I'm a big fan of their conference this year. So I got UConn. TCU, who was beating up some good teams earlier this year until they got some injury problems. So their best player was out for a bit. They're playing the winner of Arizona State, Nevada, which is currently going on right now. I know Jose is a fan of Nevada, so I'm going to ask him first who he likes in this one.
If Arizona State wins the game, I'll take Arizona State to beat TCU.
Okay, just an update. It's 58-31 Arizona State. So it looks like Arizona State's going to move on. So let's just say that it's TCU versus Arizona State.
Then I'm taking Arizona State.
I'm gonna go TCU here. I really liked them all year. They just had some injury problems. I think they'll at least win this round, but then they got a brutal matchup coming up, which I know Jose who he's taking in that one, and we're about to get to there next as we go to Gonzaga. Now, this is not the Gonzaga that we've seen the last few years. They struggled a little bit. They lost their first game at home in about 5,000 years. St. Mary's beat them. So they've lost a few games this year, but they take on I have GC here. Who's GC? Oh, Grand Canyon. Yeah, Grand Canyon. Gonzaga wins this by a lot. Jose.
Yeah, same here. I have this team is dangerous. Let me tell you.
They are
because it's my team. I love Gonzaga when it comes to college basketball. I just think this year they don't have that pressure of being number one. And they're not undefeated, or they only have one loss or anything like that. So this team this year is dangerous. They're going under the radar. Nobody's giving them the props that they deserve. So it's good like that, and that makes a team like that very dangerous because they've been in plenty of Final Fours and Elite Eights and stuff. So they've been there. It's not like they're a new team to that competition. So
yeah, I like them as well. Now we go to Northwestern, who got into the tournament. They're the number 7 seed. They take on Boise State, who is number 10. Both teams have impressed this year at different times. I'm going to take Northwestern because I've liked some of their wins in their conference.
Yeah, me too. They play in a better conference, of course, and they have pretty good players too. That they shoot them through very well, so that makes them dangerous. So yeah, I'm taking Northwestern as well.
And finally, UCLA number 2 takes on UNC Asheville. I'm taking UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA.
Okay, so we will go to the second round now, and we'll start over on the left-hand side. Now we're gonna have different matchups. So I'll give you mine. Jose will give you his. I have Alabama versus Maryland. We both have Alabama versus Maryland. And I have Alabama beating Maryland to go to the Sweet 16.
Yep, I have Alabama beating Maryland as well.
Okay, now the next game I would have San Diego State, whereas Jose would have Charleston, taking on Virginia. I actually have San Diego State beating Virginia. So, Jose, do you have an upset?
Yeah, I have Charleston beating Virginia.
There you go. So we have 2 different teams going further than expected there. So we'll see. Although San Diego State's a 5, so they're a good team. So
no, they're a good team.
So it's not that big an upset, but we'll see. So I got San Diego State, and Jose has Charleston. Now we go to Creighton for Jose taking on Baylor, and for me, NC State taking on Baylor. And man, oh man, I'm going deep here. I got NC State beating Baylor. Jose?
Same here. I have Creighton beating Baylor.
Yeah, and you know what? I could have, even if I had taken Creighton, I would have took Creighton as well. Like it was that close between those two teams. I would have had Creighton if it wasn't for NC State going through here. I don't believe in Baylor at all this year. So there you go. Next we have Utah State versus Arizona. We both have Utah State. Going on to take care on Arizona. I have Arizona winning this game though.
Yeah, me too. I have Arizona passing this game.
So now we go to Purdue taking on Memphis. I like Memphis a lot, but I think Purdue has earned their number 1 seed, and they will beat Memphis.
Yep, I have Purdue beating Memphis as well.
Then we go to Duke taking on Tennessee. This will be a tough game, but I have Duke winning it.
Same here.
So we're pretty much the same here. We're close here on our brackets. You have Providence moving on to take on Montana State, and I have Kentucky taking on Kansas State. So 2 different matchups. I have Kentucky beating Kansas State. Who do you have, Jose?
I have Montana State beating Providence.
So there is Jose's upset going to the Sweet 16. Now we go to, in my case, USC taking on Marquette. Jose would have Michigan State taking on Marquette, and I have Marquette beating USC. Jose, who do you have?
I have Michigan State beating Marquette.
Wow. Okay. So we have a number 7 taking on a number 14 in the Sweet 16. I like it. So we'll go to the other side now. On the second round, we both have Houston taking on Iowa, and I have Houston beating Iowa.
Me too. Same.
Okay. Now it gets really different. I have Drake taking on Kent State, and Jose has Miami taking on Kent State. I have Drake beating Kent State. Jose, who do you got?
I have Miami beating Indy. I have Indy beating Kent
Oh, sorry,
State.
you had Indy. Sorry, you had Indy.
Yeah,
yes.
I got Miami. I like Miami this year. I think they're gonna be one of the dark horses. So I'm taking Miami.
Jose has Miami and I have Drake. That is going to be very interesting to see as we go forward. Now we go to in Jose's case, he has Pittsburgh taking on Xavier. I have Iowa State taking on Xavier. And as you'll see a running theme here, I'm a big fan of the Big East. I have Xavier moving on. Jose.
I have Xavier beating Pittsburgh.
Okay, and now we go to Penn State. Penn State taking on Texas. I have Texas beating Penn State.
Same.
Okay, and we go to Kansas. Kansas, in my situation, taking on Arkansas. In Jose's bracket, taking on Illinois. I have Kansas moving on. Jose, who do you have?
I have Kansas as well.
Okay. And then we go to VCU, taking on UConn. I have another upset here. I have VCU moving on to over UConn.
No, I like UConn. I think UConn, they'll make a run this year. They got a good team. I have them win VCU.
Yeah. I wanted to go another Big East, but I can't take every Big East team. So I chose an upset there, but I could see UConn winning that game. For me, TCU taking on Gonzaga. For Jose, Arizona State taking on Gonzaga. We know who Jose's taking. I'm taking Gonzaga as well. Gonzaga for both of us. Then we go to Northwestern taking on UCLA, and UCLA wins this game.
Yeah.
So that is our Sweet 16. Our second round. And we got about 5 minutes, so we will do our Sweet 16, and then we'll come back and do our Elite 8 on a second video. So for the Sweet 16, I have Alabama taking on San Diego State. Gil would have Jose would have Alabama taking on Virginia. Is that correct?
No, Charleston.
Charleston, Alabama, Charleston. I have Alabama going on. Jose?
Me, yeah, I have Alabama.
Okay. So Charleston's run ends at the hands of Miller and Bama.
Sweet 16.
Yes. So now we go to, in my bracket, NC State versus Arizona. And I believe Jose has Creighton versus Arizona. I have Arizona moving on.
Same here.
Okay. Now we go to Purdue taking on Duke in both of our brackets. And I have Duke winning this game.
Same here.
Okay, so we're getting there. We're still different ways of getting there, but we're getting there. In my bracket, I have Kentucky taking on Marquette. You have Michigan. Who do you have here? Montana State taking on Marquette. Taking on Michigan State. I have Marquette going to the Elite Eight. Who do you have?
I have Michigan State.
Wow, Michigan State going deep. Okay, so we both have upsets, but different upsets. To the other side, we have, in my situation, Houston taking on Drake. I have Houston moving on, and Jose has Miami against Houston.
Miami.
Oh, he's going Hurricanes all the way to the Elite Eight. Well, Houston is vulnerable, in my opinion, so nothing wrong with that. But they got a good defense, so we'll see what happens there. Now it gets really tough. I have Xavier taking on Texas. And Jose, do you have the same? Yes, you have Xavier taking on Texas. I have Texas moving on here.
Same here.
Yeah, I liked how Texas ended the season, so I got them going to the Elite Eight. And then we have Kansas against VCU in my situation, whereas Jose has Kansas versus UConn, and I have Kansas moving on.
I have Kansas moving on as well.
And finally, a big game, a revenge game, Gonzaga versus UCLA. Jose?
The Zags, they beat them this year already, and they'll beat them again.
I have Gonzaga as well. I saw that they beat UCLA earlier in the year, so I've got Gonzaga. So now we are to the Elite Eight, but you see, we're going to tease you a little bit. We're not going to do it right away. We're going to come right back because, we're going to have a little more to say. We only got 3 minutes left in the show. So when we come back, we will have our Elite Eight, our Final Four, our championship game, and who is going to win it. So stay tuned for part 2 as we come back to give you our brackets on the Reese Report. Welcome back to part 2 of the Reese Report as we go through our NCAA March Madness brackets. We are down to the Elite Eight where it gets real interesting. So without any further ado, let's go to our Elite Eight. Let's start on the left side. Alabama. The Crimson Tide take on the Wildcats. Arizona, Alabama. I have Alabama going to the Final Four. Jose.
I have Alabama as well, beating Arizona. I think they're the only one seed, in my opinion, going to the Final Four.
Okay, and then we have, in my situation, Duke versus Marquette, and you have Duke versus
Michigan State.
Michigan State. Wow, who do you got first?
I got Duke.
All right, so you got Duke. I have Marquette beating Duke. I'm a big fan of Marquette this year, so Marquette to the Final Four to take on Alabama. And then we go to the other side. In my bracket, it's Houston versus Texas. And Jose, you have Miami versus Texas. Who do you got going to the Final Four?
Miami, Florida.
Wow, the Hurricanes going to the Final Four. I have Texas going to the Final Four. I like how the Longhorns finished their season, as I've mentioned. And now we get to the Big Daddy, the defending champion Kansas Jayhawks versus Gonzaga. Jose, what's happening?
Gonzaga. They're making it to the Final Four this year.
You know what? I have Gonzaga as well. I think they beat Kansas. I hope I'm right on them and that they'll have less pressure this year and therefore go further. So I have Gonzaga in the Final Four. So we have Alabama versus Marquette in my bracket. Jose has Alabama versus Duke. Jose, who do you have in the final?
Duke.
Yeah, I don't
I
blame you
like
for
the Blue
taking Duke.
Devils.
Yeah, Duke finished the season very well. They were the hottest team in the league. I thought long and hard about taking them, but I wanted an upset. You can call it a minor upset, but they are the number 2 seed for a reason. So I have Marquette going to the final. Big fan of Marquette. Jose, I've talked to Jose about Marquette. I've been a big fan of Marquette throughout the season. So I have Marquette going to the final. And on the other side, Texas versus Gonzaga. Jose.
I have Miami, Florida, and
Miami
Gonzaga.
versus yeah, Mr. Miami. Are you going to take the Hurricanes to beat Gonzaga?
No,
No, of
Gonzaga's
course not.
making it to the finals this year. Gonzaga's making it to the finals this year.
I thought long and hard about this matchup as well. But when I went back and looked, Texas beat Gonzaga earlier this season, so I decided to go with Texas in the final. So I have Marquette in Texas. Jose has Duke.
No, Duke and Gonzaga.
Duke and Gonzaga. Wow, Duke and Gonzaga sounds interesting. And I have two number 2 seeds? I have Texas is number 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have 2 versus 2. I got Marquette versus Texas, 2 versus 2. Jose has a 3 versus Duke, who's a 5. Wow, see? We got upsets here. We're not taking all 1 seeds. I have a feeling I know who Jose is taking to win this game. It's Duke versus Gonzaga. Jose?
Duke.
Oh, I knew it. Jose's going with the hot team. I don't blame him. At least his team's going to the final to disappoint again. But he's got Duke. Duke started this season really bad. Losing to teams they should never lose to, but they are on fire to end the season.
Right now. They have a strong inside game.
Yep.
Their weakness is shooting the threes. They're not very good at shooting threes, but their inside game is deadly. I think it's like one of the best in the nations right now. And so I really like Duke. Them in the ACC. They showed me a lot, man. If they get tough, close games against North Carolina, they beat them down the stretch. Against in the championship game against Virginia, they smoked them. So they look really good.
Yeah, to me, the 4 hottest teams going into this were Alabama, Duke, Marquette, and Texas. But I couldn't take both Duke and Marquette, and so I have Marquette versus Texas. I liked hot teams going into the tournament. We've seen this before with UConn when they had Kemba Walker. You go hot into that tournament, and it seems like you're better when you go hot into a tournament. I have Marquette winning it all for the first time in their history. I had a lot of problems picking this game because I'm a big fan of Texas as well. But Marquette they always seem to win the game in the last second. And I like that. They got great guards. They got a great offense. And, you need great guards to win this tournament. So I'm going to take Marquette. I might be on an outlier. I don't know how many people they're number 2. It's not like they're a number 2 ranked team. And most, you don't see too many Big East teams ranked that high. So I'll go with them. I could have easily taken Texas. I could have easily taken Duke or Alabama, but I'm going to go Marquette to win the final for a little bit of a Cinderella story. And the finals in Houston, Texas. So I'm going against the home team in that situation. If Texas makes it to the final, they're at home. So really, I probably should take Texas. It also makes me think that if Houston gets there, they're at home, and they could be a big favorite to win the whole thing if they're at home in the final. So the Texas teams here are going to be favored throughout the tournament, I think, to get there. Even like the Texas A&Ms and any team from Texas. So, that makes it very interesting. Makes me think about maybe I should have took Texas, but I'll stick with Marquette because Texas will be at home. But that's our brackets. What are your brackets, people? I want to see your brackets. You can attach a PDF if you want. You can tell me who your final are, who your final four is, who your championship team is. I want to know who you like in this tournament. I'm gonna be sharing this video all over Twitter. All my basketball people out there, Raptors Live TV, Nelly J, Kenyon, Beyond, all you people. I know you all watch, NCAA. I want to know who you like in this tournament. Who's going to be your player of the tournament? I think it still could be Brandon Miller, even though Alabama I have out in the Final Four. But we shall see. I'm gonna think about it, but Jose, do you have a player that you believe will be player of the tournament?
I think if Gonzaga to go deep, they need Tilly to come up big. I think
Mhm.
he'll play it out, and I also like that forward from Duke. I don't know, I don't Polzinski or whatever his
Right,
name is.
right, right.
I really like him. He had a strong ACC tournament. I think he was player of the tournament.
Mm,
Lately he's been double doubles, averaging double doubles the last games of this, last 10 games of the conference play.
yeah,
So yeah, I like him. I think for them to go deep in this run, and I also like the two guards from Miami, Florida. I know I have them going to the Final Four, and I don't even know their names, but they're really
yeah.
good. Trust me, like these guys they're a big guard play team, and they'll surprise a lot of team. I like Miami, Florida this year. I like the Hurricanes to go far this year.
I think Tyler Kolek from Marquette is going to be the most important player for Marquette. He's been great all year. Really good point guard. 39% from three, 48% from the field. He's averaging 13 and 7 a game. He will be very important to their success or failure. Although Marquette's a more balanced team, I think he's going to be important for them if they're going to win the tournament. So I like him. But March Madness is about fun, watching all these crazy games go throughout the day. Um, and we'll certainly be looking at certain games and probably putting a few wagers on them. So we'll see. I believe I don't know if you know what I wanted to put the odds up here before we go. I wanted to see what the odds were for everyone to win the tournament, just so we can have a little bit of an idea.
Well, the
Let me see if
favorite's
I can.
Alabama.
Let me see if I can
Alabama's the
get the
favorite.
tourney odds here. I don't think I have them right in front of me, but yeah, you said sorry. Who was the favorite?
Alabama's the favorite to win all right.
Yeah, because they're the overall number one.
Yeah,
Um,
Duke comes in at good money, man. I think they're like a plus 900. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. So that's
yeah,
pretty good money, 9-1. Um, Miami, Florida is a really good price. Gonzaga is a good price too, even for them to win. So
right. Okay, so I have the odds here. So we have Houston is the favorite at plus 500, which is,
yeah,
I
which
mean,
is not bad.
understandable because they have the tournaments. If they get to the final, they're playing at home, so I can understand that. Literally at home. Alabama's second at plus 700. Kansas is third at plus 1100. Then we go to Purdue at 11-1. UCLA 12-1. Gonzaga 14-1. Jose, might have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Texas 16-1, which is a team that I picked to go to the final, and Marquette is 20-1. I might have to seriously consider about that Marquette being 20-1. That looks like a good wager to me. So there's some odds for you there.
What's Duke at? The 29-1? Duke?
Duke is actually not on the list. So if they're not on the list, then that means they're higher. Let me just go to Duke. Duke is 28-1 to win. So considering they're the
That's
hottest team
that's good
in the league
money.
going in,
That's
that's a
good
good
money.
wager. Um, but I think I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I'll probably do a little $20 bet on Marquette to win the tournament. Jose for sure should put money on Gonzaga, even
Oh,
if he
buddy,
doesn't have them to win.
Gonzaga. It's gonna be $20 on Gonzaga, Miami, Duke.
There you go. Miami, Florida is 40-1, just in case you guys are wondering. 40-1 on them. So there's some really good bets you guys can make there. I know last year one of my friends on Twitter had Kansas winning the tournament, and I believe they were 30 or 40-1 going in. He had them bet before the tournament, and because of the change at Bet365 and all the sites when Ontario switched over everything. He ended up having to cash out his bet before the final. Ended up losing a bunch of money. So that's not going to happen this year. So get your wagers in after Arizona completes their smashing of Nevada. So that's our picks, guys. Please tell me what you think. Give us comments, likes. Please subscribe. Let us know who you pick. I want all my friends out there who talk to me on Raptors Live TV. Please let me know what you think. I'm the mouth of North Andrews. That's Jose Carlos Gomes. And we will see you next time on the Reese Report.